Hi friends, it's been actually a long time since I have stood in this exact spot because it has been such a mess in here. I've used this area of my studio to kind of chuck things in when I don't want to see them and I don't want to deal with them at that moment. And then of course, you know what happens, it ends up that it's piled so high with stuff that needs to be processed somehow, needs to be given its next purpose in life rather than just being dumped in one pile. So I decided yesterday, because it's just the very start of autumn here in Australia, which is always a really very inspiring time for me, I find. I find it inspiring for a couple of reasons. It's because I feel like freshening everything up in that season. You've sort of had the warmth and the dryness of summer, and then you come into these more relaxed, gentle, still warm in a lot of cases, but just a little bit more gentle days that are easing slowly into winter. And that makes me feel a little bit more energized and like freshening up. And the second reason is, of course, as the weather gets cooler, my mind turns to all the things that I want to make, all the things I want to cozy up with, all the gifts I want to make going through this cool season, which is where I live, is quite long. So it gives me a lot of time with cool weather to have that inspiration of wanting to use wool and beautiful fibers to cozy up with. It's also been a little while, I don't know if you've noticed, that I've shown my face on this channel, and there's a couple of reasons for that. I've talked a little bit last year about various health struggles that I've had, and those are ongoing, and so not showing my face has been a mix of not feeling up to it, but also I haven't been looking my best. I've got Hashimoto's disease, and it has seemingly kind of collided with my stage in life of perimenopause and is doing some awful things to me. Some of that has included a whole host of new allergies that I seemingly didn't know about or just didn't have before have developed. And when I have one of these reactions, an allergic reaction, then the effect is quite dramatic on myself. I've jokingly said that I look kind of like a very red, angry Stay Puft, if you can imagine. Anyway, so the good news is that I'm working with a different doctor now, and I've dealt with her in the past. She was actually the one who diagnosed my Hashimoto's over 20 years ago, and she is really thorough and helpful, and she cares, and that makes a big difference. So I'm working with her to try and find some better solutions for where I find myself at the moment health-wise. I've been trying a lot of dietary stuff, trying to be as healthy as I possibly can. I don't know if any of that has actually helped at all, but it's certainly good to have a healthier lifestyle. Cutting out any processed food and all that kind of thing can only be a good thing. But I am hoping that eventually I'll get to move past this uncertain phase that I'm in and have a bit more energy again and be able to do more and all that kind of thing. Anyway, I'm rambling a little bit. I don't really know what this video is going to be about today. I just thought I'll turn the camera on and I'll see what happens. I'm cleaning up the studio. I'm doing a major cleanup, getting rid of all the dust and the cobwebs and trying to declutter a lot of the stuff that I have in here that I don't need to have, reorganize things so that they make more sense and they're more accessible and all of that. So I do have a lot of things happening weaving wise, and perhaps I will update you on those as I go along. But I have had to cut back a lot on what I do. So hopefully this video will be enjoyable to you anyway, just as a little hello update. I'm still here. I'm doing things, I'm doing the best I can, and I hope that you're all doing okay as well. One of the things I really love about getting cleaned up is coming across things that you either haven't seen for a while or you see them so much that they become part of the furniture. You know how that can be, that you don't really see it anymore for what it is. So I've been putting away a lot of my samples and things that I had sitting around the studio. I often leave samples sitting out and finished projects sitting out just because I like to see them once they're done. And also, if I've used them for a class or a pattern or whatever, then I often have a lot of follow-up questions that need to be answered, and it's handy to have my samples near at hand. But the way I'm feeling at the moment is I want to be a little bit more minimal than that. I don't want to have piles of hand-woven cloth sitting around. Even though I love that and it's beautiful, right now I need kind of streamlined, clean spaces. I feel like that will really help me. So yeah, I came across my Bright and Beautiful towels, and these are so lovely. Now you think, how could you have these sitting around near you and not be seeing them or thinking about them? They're so lovely. So I'm going to put them away for a little while, and then perhaps I'll bring them out at another time when I'm going to appreciate them more. Another thing is, you might be wondering, well, why don't I take them into my kitchen and use them? I actually do need to weave some more kitchen towels at the moment. The reason is just what I said before. I like to preserve my samples so that I can have them close at hand for when people ask me questions. Sometimes I need to go back and look at the cloth to answer a question properly. And to remember, because I have so many, like over 100 classes. How many YouTube videos? 370, something crazy like that. And then something like over 25 patterns. So, you know, there's a limit to what this brain can store. So it's good to have these kind of reminders. Another thing I really like about cleaning up and putting things away and touching them again, it's really important, because it reminded me that I had these summer and winter samples that I did a little while ago, not too long ago, last year. And I was kind of excited about doing summer and winter at the time, but I've never really liked the results that I've had with summer and winter. I've had a couple of goes at it. And this cloth feels quite stiff, and I sort of wanted, I don't know, something a little bit softer. And also I didn't feel like there was enough coverage of the pattern weft on these samples. Anyway, so I ended up changing the set because I had a closer set, and I ended up opening it up a little bit to a wider set than I would normally use for plain weave. Because often when you look at summer and winter resources, they will say set it for plain weave. But I haven't found that to be the case to give the best results. So I set it a little bit wider, and that was better, but I still wasn't really thrilled with the results. But picking up this cloth and looking at it again makes me, for some reason, look at it with fresh eyes and think, hey, I actually really love this, and this feels really good compared to this first sample that was a bit stiffer. I really want to try this again, and I want to try and make, you know, something large with it, maybe a blanket or something. I'm still, in my mind, trying to move towards that idea of the coverlet. If you've watched any of my past videos, if you know anything about me at all, I love coverlets. And so I still want to work towards that idea. I still don't feel like I'm ready for that. But doing these kind of things is really helpful in giving you the kind of information you need to be able to do these projects you want to do. But for now, because I'm cleaning up my studio, these are going to go in the almost overflowing sample box. I do need more sample boxes, but I can't really fit any more boxes underneath this pool table. And yes, you'll notice that I still haven't done what I wanted to do and put like a skirt around the bottom of this table to cover it up a little bit. I have a lot of ideas. I don't have a lot of time and I don't have a lot of energy. So I still want to do that. I'm sure I will get to it eventually. I feel great that I'm making the time today to clean up the studio. I feel like that's a really good start. I don't have a great system for organising my yarns. What I've done in the past is kind of organise them by their type. So I'd have all the cottons together, all the cotyledons together, all the tencels together. And I still kind of want to do that, but within those subcategories, I want to do a little bit of colour organisation just to put similar colours all together. Definitely same colours all together, but also similar ones. So that's the only cone I've got of that one, so I'm going to put that near the front. But this colour, I've got a bunch of those, so they can go in sort of behind each other. What is this colour? I don't know. It's an 8-2 from Morris Brassard. Oh, it's fuchsia. There we go. The print is so tiny I can barely read it. My eyes are pretty bad these days. So these are all 8-2 cottons I'm putting in here, and I'll probably put my least favourite colours down the bottom, or my least used colours. You might ask why I actually have those colours. I'm not really sure. I'll probably use them at some point, but I don't use them a lot, that's for sure. I do tend to use the same colours over and over. Every now and then I get in this mood where I'm like, well, I should be challenging myself more with colours, and then I buy extra colours that I don't really like, and then guess what? I don't use them. Anyway, sometimes, very occasionally, I do end up using colours that I don't really like, or they're not my favourites. And most of the time that works out well. There's only one time I can think of where I used like a pink and a brown together, and I hated the project. It was horrible, hated it. But other times it's been okay. So grouping these roughly according to colour and type, and I think that will serve me pretty well. I might as well put all the whites and the blacks in a really easily accessible place because I use them an awful lot. So I might as well have them easy to access. I've got more of them too. They're in a box. At this point, I have quite a lot of weaving yarn. That's a good thing, but you've got to have some sort of organisation for it too. Okay, that's good. That's better than what I had. Now I've got to start on the shelves behind me, but I'm actually feeling really tired. And this is one of the hard things with having an autoimmune disease, is just trying to accept and work with the limitations that you now have. So for me, I get tired very quickly at the moment. I guess I'm in some sort of flare-up stage and have been for quite a while. And yeah, I just get really tired. So I actually started on the studio yesterday. I got quite a bit done yesterday, and I've been in here for maybe an hour today, and I'm feeling like I might not be able to continue doing this. One thing that I do try to do is vary my activities. So if I'm too tired standing up doing things as I have been in the studio and carrying things back and forth and all of that, then I'll try and vary my activity. So the next activity might be going and sitting at the loom and actually working at the loom for a little while. And then that's not as tiring as standing up. My personality type is to push myself through things. So to say, okay, I'm really tired, so what? Let's keep going and get the job done. I'm a real get the job done kind of girl, but it doesn't always work out. Sometimes it's just too much. So I think what I'll do at this point is I'm going to go and have some lunch, have a break, and see how I feel after that. And try to be kind to myself and not do too much. And if I feel too tired, I'll work on something quiet and not too taxing. Following the intake of sustenance, I have decided to press on. And I've said to myself, if only I can get this corner done, and if that's all I can do in here for now, then that has to be good enough. So the method is to take everything out of where it is, and then that allows me to vacuum and wipe down the whole area, get rid of the dust and the cobwebs and all of that. And then when I'm putting things back, I'm deciding, do I actually want this to go back in this spot, or do I want it to go elsewhere, or do I want it to go out completely? So this is part of the process of refreshing things so much, is making everything more manageable and more practical and having more visual space, which just seems to do a lot for my brain. I feel so much freer and I find it easier to think in a space that's not overly cluttered. And also when it comes down to yarn, I want to know exactly what I've got so that I don't make the mistake of ordering things when I already have them and that kind of thing. That's happened a fair bit. Okay, I've made really good progress and I'm actually feeling like I want to keep going. So I'm going to tackle this area because I don't think this is going to take me too long. It's mostly big balls of wool in containers which I can just take off, wipe it all down and put them back. So this is today's progress. That's about half of the studio done, which I'm really pleased about. I didn't think that I would be able to get that much done today. And also, even though it's only half, this is the more busy half, like where I have all my yarn and all my little bits and pieces. The second half is more looms and larger pieces. So that's going to be a little bit easier, I hope. I'm not looking forward to the knitting machine area, but we'll get there. What I'm really pleased about is yesterday, this table, which is in the center of the studio, the big billiard table, that was full of stuff yesterday. It was completely covered. I might have a photo here somewhere. And today I've got that more than half cleared off. So very happy with today's progress. Now it's time for me to sit down and do some weaving, which is my reward. I wanted to show you this lovely piece that I made recently on my knitting machine. This was knitted with entirely Geelong dyeing wool, and it's a very fine and beautiful wool. So I use a few strands at one time, and that not only gives the variations in colour, but it also just makes this lovely light fabric. So this is actually a triangle shawl. Let's see if we can see it here. If I can open it up. And it's just so smushy. Let's have a look. There we go. The triangle, you can see there how light and lovely that is. Nice and stretchy, so great for kind of wrapping around if that's what you like to do. I do. I like wrapping triangle shawls. And then you can just do like a simple knot at the back, like this. Or otherwise you can just wear it loose as a triangle shawl. Or you can fling it over a shoulder or do whatever you like. I absolutely love this about fine knitted fabric, is the way it drapes when you fling it. It just looks so nice. It looks like it's meant to be, like you arranged it that way, but it's just its own pretty self. So I haven't decided what I'm doing with this one yet. I do have a pattern for this type of shawl in my Etsy shop if you're a machine knitter and you want to know how to make something like this. But as far as this particular shawl goes, I'm not sure whether I'm going to hold on to it for myself or whether I'm going to sell it. And this is the kind of thing that could crop up in the Shopify store that I was talking about before. I also occasionally sell things on Etsy, physical products, whether it's a finished product, whether it's a kit, whatever it is. Very occasionally I will just suddenly post and sell a handmade product. So make sure you follow me on Instagram if that sounds good to you. And I will try to decide whether this one belongs on my shoulders or the shoulders of somebody else. I do love it, but as I always say, you can't keep them all, can you? Well, the weather is getting cooler and these are in my colours. I do love these colours and it's so smushy. Let's see. Love how stretchy and smushy it is. I'm going to tie behind. Okay, how's that? What do you think? Does it suit me? Is it a keeper or is it a seller? That's the back. Decisions. Yay for weaving time. I have been looking forward to this all day. I wanted to show you a couple of things before I get to work on the project I'm currently working on. If you've seen any of my past vlogs on here, you'll remember that I'm working on a granny square blanket crocheting. So this is my sort of evening work that I do because I like to keep my hands busy. I haven't actually worked on this for a little while. It's been kind of hot here and you don't really feel so much like handling wool when it's hot. But I have made some progress with this blanket. Slowly but surely, quite slowly. Well, considering that a year ago I couldn't really crochet, I think I'm doing okay. So this is what I've got so far. And I'm just kind of repeating colour. I've got about, 6 or 7 different colour blocks in this. And so I'm just making the same blocks over and over and then just joining them in a kind of diagonal as I go. So for example, if you look at this color, it's the same as this color and this color and this color. And that's how I'm putting it together. I wasn't really sure how to put it together, what sort of layout to choose. So I just thought I'm just going to join them diagonally the same color and see how it goes. And I like it. It looks good. So it's going to take me a little while to finish this because I'm not really sure what size I want to do. But a large one would be nice, wouldn't it? I think so. It would look nice on a bed or just as a comfy blanket, just a lap blanket, whatever. I don't know. I'll see how I feel. I haven't made any decisions on how big it's going to be, but I think it's looking lovely. I'm happy with it. And then the other project that I've got sort of on the back burner, because this loom's occupied, the other big floor loom is occupied, so I can only do what I can do. But before I had this project on the loom, I had this one, and this is for the quilt that is going to happen at some point in the future. I'm not really sure if I've shown you this fabric or not. I can't remember now. Yeah, it's been a while, so I'm not really sure. So there's a lot of the dots, but then there's also, I experimented with squares on this one. So there's squares as well, and they're in different colors. So it was a bit of an experiment to see which colors I really liked with this fabric. And guess what? I like them all. But it's a good long length of fabric. So my next job, once this is off the loom, is to warp up some more solids kind of colors, but using similar colors to this so that they tie in together well on a quilt. And then just weaving a heap of more solid colored fabric and then starting to make some quilt blocks, tying these bits in and seeing what I think. Kind of like the granny square, just I'm not really sure of the layout yet, but it's going to be pretty simple because I haven't made a hand woven quilt before. So it's better if there aren't a lot of small pieces, at least to begin with. And that's going to, I'm actually filming along, I started filming at the start of this fabric for that project, and I'm going to be filming a bit of the quilt making process and all of that once I've actually got the fabric. That's going to be sometime in the future. No timeline on that one because it's a personal project and I just get to them when I can get to them. Now what I've got here is, can't tell you exactly because it's going to be a gift, but it is a lovely diamond twill based on M&W threading, and I'm using a turquoise weft at the moment on a white warp, and then I'm going to weave one section like that, and then I'm going to change to another color, probably some sort of pink. I'll be able to reveal what this project actually is, but for now it's a little bit of a secret just because it's going to be a gift. But I can tell you some of the details. I'm using 8/2 cotton both for warp and weft, and I'm really enjoying this because something I particularly wanted to do at this point in time is to have a project that was a little bit more simple and straightforward, because I'd kind of been challenging myself with a few different things, and I still have an overshot project on the big loom that is taking forever to weave. It's really, really time intensive, that one. And so, and before this, I'd been weaving this circle fabric, which is a turned taquete. Not that difficult, but you're using 2 shuttles, it's a little bit slower. So I thought with this one, I wanted to, strip it back and keep it simple, have one single weft color, because I feel like I haven't just woven with one weft for ages. I don't know why. I guess I've been doing more challenging projects. And so this is weaving up really fast, which is nice. It's almost the full width of my 90 centimeter David loom, but the width is like quite manageable because it's not greater than my arm span, like what's his name over there. And I can just shoot the weft across. It's really easy weaving as far as weaving on a floor loom goes. So I'm going to weave a little bit and show you a little bit of that, and otherwise I think we'll leave it there for today because I think this video is probably very long by now, and I will try over the next few days to finish off the second half of the studio, which I'm in right now. Can you see the knitting machine area behind me? Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to having it cleaned. I'm not looking forward to actually doing it. But I've got the first half cleaned over there, and that feels so lovely just to look over there and go, oh, it's not chaos. That's really nice. So thanks for watching, everyone. If you made it this far, thank you. I hope you enjoyed this messy, random day that has been. And until next time, happy weaving.